Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Good morning.
How's everybody doing?
It is Saturday. Hope you guys had a wonderful week.
If you had a wonderful week, put wonderful in the chat. If it was a horrible week, put wonderful in the chat.
Oh gosh. It is actually a sunny day here in Virginia Beach.
Absolutely. Guys, if you're just tuning in, welcome to Breakfast with the Brookses. We're going to get started in about 3 minutes. I want y'all to do me a favor. Please put in the chat, where are you tuning in from? What's the weather like? And what is the temperature like where you are?
In your neck of the woods.
It's not your neck of the woods.
It is in your neck of the woods.
That's Al Roker.
Speaking
of Al Roker, we got to pray for Al Roker.
For Al Roker as he is battling
prostate
cancer.
Yep.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Hey, Nikkei, what's up?
Good morning.
What's going on? Do me a favor, guys. Tag somebody. Let everybody know that we're live. We're going to be going live in about 2.5 minutes, talking about gratitude today, picking up where we left off last week. And we'll go from there.
We have a special guest this morning.
45 degrees in Upper Marlboro. Good grief.
What is the temperature here? I don't know. It looks warm. I'm sure it's not that warm.
Yeah.
Let's see. What is the temperature here in Virginia Beach?
Wow. 46 degrees?
Okay.
It's just a degree high. Look, I'm talking about wow in Upper Marlboro. It's 46 degrees here. What's going on? If you're just jumping in, this your first time, we want to ask you to put first timer in the chat. Welcome to Breakfast with the Brookses. We're going to be getting started, guys, in about 1.5 minutes. Hopefully, things are going well with you. We're going to talk about gratitude today, babe.
Yes.
And hopefully people get it.
Hopefully they do. It can change. Having an attitude of gratitude makes all the difference in the world. All the difference in the world. Changes your perspective.
Yeah, cold is everywhere for sure, Nikkei. That is for certain. That is for sure.
Hey guys, make sure you share this out. Share it out to your friends and your families, your frenemies, anybody that you want to share it with. And if you are new to our channel, please make sure that you subscribe and ring that bell so you get notifications of new videos as we post them, as we go live. We got some new things coming up in 2021 that are going to be exciting. And so we are looking forward to that. So we want you guys to be a part of that. So make sure that you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out.
Don't miss out. We got about 27 seconds. We're going to be live in a minute. Hey, Sharon, what's going on? Good morning.
Good morning.
52 here. What part of Virginia are you in, Sharon? Or Sharon, I'm sorry. If it's Sharon or Sharon, I'm sorry if I mispronounced it.
Miss Branch.
Miss Branch. How about that?
We'll call it that.
What part of Virginia are you in? Guys, we're going to get started in about 30 seconds here. Todd, what's going on? Good to see you. Good to see you. Oh, that's right. You guys are in Hampton. That's right. We're going to get started. For those of you guys who are just hopping in, we want to encourage you to please share this out to as many people as possible. We're talking gratitude today, guys, and we're going to pick up where we left off last week. Today, we're going to talk about the emotional benefits of gratitude. There are 5 things that you need to know, and I'm hoping that it really helps you out significantly. Great morning, everybody. Great morning. How's everybody doing? Y'all good?
Good morning. Good morning. We got a special guest this morning.
Jackson is deciding to be the most, and so we're going to go ahead. I'm trying to get this color saturation worked out. Okay. But anyway, guys, do me a favor. Do me a huge favor. And I want you guys to put in the chat, when you hear the word gratitude, what do you hear? Put that in the chat. When you hear the word gratitude, what do you hear? When you hear the word gratitude, what do you hear?
Right. And while you guys are doing that, for those of you that haven't met Jackson before, this is Jackson. Jackson is my comfort dog. And
he's not very comforting right now. He's being the most.
He is very comforting. This week, Jackson had a pretty trying week. The last 2 weeks, actually. So when I got Jackson, they said that he had a heart murmur, a heart condition. And so I actually got him from the SPCA. His previous owners had turned him in because of that. And so we knew when we got him that potentially he may have some health challenges. And so he went to the cardiologist last week.
Yep.
Got a clean bill of health. Found out that he does have a tiny hole in his heart, but it's not anything that's going to cause him any problems. He doesn't have to be on a medication. He doesn't have to go back to the cardiologist. So
that's a good thing.
Yay, Jackson.
We get to save money.
Yeah. And so got through that little bit of anxiety. And then this week, Jackson's running around playing, and he snags his nail.
Right. And snatched it almost off his foot.
And so he's walking around in pain. He kept me up, what was that, Wednesday night?
Yeah.
It was like having a newborn baby. He could not sleep. He was up barking and whimpering all night. So it was up with him. So I had to take him to the vets on Thursday because it wasn't getting any better.
Right.
He just was not doing any better. Dodged a bullet there too. Praise to God. So got him there, and they were like, well, you guys really made out because the nail was literally just dangling there, and they were able to just pull it off. Because sometimes they actually have to do surgery. They have to put them under anesthesia because if it rips the quick, which is the nerve in the nail.
He's doing the most. You want to know that?
He wants these treats.
Oh.
If it rips the nerve in the nail, it can be very complicated. But he got off easy on that, so he got him some nice little pain meds so he could sleep.
Yeah.
And he's doing much better now. He's not in pain anymore. I'm actually able to touch his paw where I couldn't touch it before. And so that's somebody's car horn, Jackson.
So guys, listen, that's the Jackson update. I just wanted to really jump in really quickly. If this is your first time on, put first time. What's going on, Jennifer? Good to see you. System Situation by the Premier VA.
Good morning.
That's
Good morning.
one of our teammates, and I'm so excited to have you on today. What's up, Jeff? Good to see everybody. Do me a huge favor, guys. Do me a huge favor. I want y'all to tag this out to somebody, especially if you know that there's somebody that you're dealing with or in your life where they have a really negative outlook or negative disposition on life. And a lot of times we don't recognize this, but a lot of what our disposition is and how things, how we look at things really will determine how you actually show up. Does that make sense?
Right.
So I want you guys to talk about, let's talk a little bit about, if you were here last week, put a 1 in the chat. Mm-hmm. If you were here last week, put a 1 in the chat. If you were not here, put a 2 in the chat.
All right. Speaking of gratitude, this morning, actually, I woke up early and I was laying in the bed, and I actually posted this on my Facebook page, but I just was laying in the bed and I just was thinking about, what am I grateful for? And I had a conversation with one of my girlfriends this week. And I'm really grateful that I have people in my life that I can be me with. That I can be vulnerable, that I can be messy, I can be goofy, I can be authentically me. And I think oftentimes in life we don't, we take those things for granted.
Yeah.
We take the relationships that we have for granted. And I'm just really grateful for the women that I have in my life that I get to be me. I get to be authentically me. And so that's just something, like I said, I mean, being grateful, we have to practice being grateful about everything. The little things, and not taking things for granted, because I think that when we're going through hard times, if we continue to focus on the negative, it definitely will affect our mood. So just as you're sitting this morning, think about something that you're grateful for.
Yeah, good. We got a bunch of ones in the chat. We got a bunch of ones. We're asking the question, if you were here last week, put a 1 in the chat. If you were not here last week, put a 2 in the chat. We talked about gratitude, babe, and I think that what most people don't understand, and I asked this question before, what is gratefulness to you when you hear that word? Most people are going to say thankful. Most people are going to say something around that arena, which is exactly what it is. But here's what a lot of people don't understand. That gratefulness is an actual emotion, or it can present itself as an emotion. And we're going to talk a little bit about how gratitude has emotional benefits.
Right.
If you're a person that sees the world as the glass half empty all the time, if you're a person that struggles with seeing the positive or the good, oftentimes it's directly affected, or directly goes back to, do you display, or are you a grateful person?
Right.
For those of you guys who are just hopping in, maybe you're catching us by way of replay. My name's Glenn P. Brooks Jr. I'm an author. I'm a speaker. I'm a coach. Sitting here next to me is the lovely, light-skinned
Sheri Brooks Jr., author, speaker, and relationship coach.
And we run a community called MAPS, Marriages and Parenting Successfully. And what we do in that community, guys, is we help people grow their relationships with great intentionality. If you are a person who is married, if you're a person who's in a long-term dating relationship, if you're a parent, maybe you're single and you're trying to position yourself so that when you get married, you become the best, you have already become the best version of yourself, and therefore you add a ridiculous amount of value to the relationship, and it grows long term. You guys are the kinds of people that we work with on a regular basis. As coaches, our job is really to help come alongside of you and help you navigate things in a particular way that it causes you to win.
Right.
And so we want to encourage you to come and join that community. If you're not a part of that community, sign up for a free discovery session at glennpbrooksjr.com right here on the screen, and we would love to have you in the community. I've got an announcement to make, and I'm a little bit all over the place mentally for a minute, and I want it because I got several thoughts running through my head.
Okay.
We're coming up on our 100th episode.
Yay!
And in us doing 100 episodes, I don't know if you realize, but Sheri and I have been doing Breakfast with the Brookses on YouTube alone for almost
2 years.
2 years, right? That 100th episode will put us right at that 2-year mark here on YouTube. Prior to YouTube, we did it for a year on Facebook Live, and then prior to that, we did it for about a year on Periscope.
Yeah.
We are tired. We are exhausted. Every Saturday morning we've gotten up, and I think that no, I'm just saying that we are tired. Okay. We are tired. Let me tell you what I mean when I say that. When I'm saying tired, I don't mean physically. I mean creatively. Right. And I want to figure out a way to relaunch and rebrand this show. To do something completely different. There are a bunch of things that we can do. What I really want to find out from you guys is, what are your likes? What are your dislikes? What would you like to see from us? Many of you guys have been rocking with us for quite some time. Is there something that we've done in the past? Is there something that you're going through that you would say, man, I would love them to talk on this? One of the things that we're considering really is just being more of a Q&A driven kind of a thing. I'm also considering what would it look like for you guys to come into an actual Zoom room with us, as opposed to it just being one-sided. Let me tell you how this best works for me. It works best when I can see you. It works best when we can actually talk and ask specific questions. And
it makes it more conversational.
It makes it much more conversational. The chats are fine, but here's what I realize. I can't discern all the time what you mean, where the inference is coming from, what's funny, what's not. And it causes me to kind of lose a little bit of a connection, because I feed off of the energy of a room. And so we're looking at what would it look like to do that. Here's what I want you guys to do. If you guys are regular viewers of this program, whether you're watching us live or whether you are watching us in replay, do me a favor, drop your email address and let us communicate. We want to connect with you. I'd like to be able to create a way for them to. You can't inbox on YouTube.
No, we can just give them our email address, and you guys email us.
Okay,
so
put our email address in the chat. Use your phone.
Oh.
Yes, just go to the app. Use your phone. Okay. We're gonna put our email address in the chat. Okay. Here's what we want y'all to do.
Yeah. Instead of
y'all putting your email for everybody and their mother to see. Here's what we want to do. We want you guys to email us your suggestions as to how we could rebrand this show and make it better. We may come up with a whole new name, a whole new concept. A lot of this is really going to be dependent upon what you want. And quite frankly, Jackson, go ahead with yourself now. No, we're not playing, buddy. Come on, you want to get up? I'm trying to concentrate. Come on. Oh, he wants to play. I'm not playing with him. So at any rate, what I want you guys to do is I want y'all to tell me what you want. And the reason why is because we don't want to do a show that's not beneficial. Let me tell you what I mean by that. If the show isn't growing in terms of numbers of people, if the show isn't growing in terms of the value we're adding to you guys, then that's an indication to us that maybe we've run our course. And I don't know that to be true. And so what I need to know from you guys is what you would like. We are going to probably shut it down after the 100th episode. I'm going to tell you that on the front end. The way I'm feeling, I haven't quite thought through it yet, but we're going to probably shut the whole show down probably after the 100th episode and look to rebrand and relaunch in 2021. That's what I'm thinking. Again, this is out loud. I'm being very transparent with you guys. Jackson is doing the most in the background, and so I'm trying to stay focused. I'm feeling a little emotional because this has been a long run, and I've loved every single minute of it, and I believe that we add a ridiculous amount of value to you guys, but I want to know how we can do it different or how we can do it better, something that would be attractive to other people, the whole 9 yards. And so I want you guys to really, really, really engage us. Don't just, not tell us anything, because if you're here every week, then that means something here is of value to you. So I just wanted to put that out there. I would love it. I'm just trying to figure out what this thing could be doing. Right, absolutely. Keep it fresh, engaging. How about one Zoom a month? I like that, Jeff. I like that. Yeah, I was going to, a Zoom breakfast with the Brookses. That might be a super dope thing. Here's one of the things that if I did a Zoom, because we have a limited amount of space for that, obviously, we probably would promote it to the community, and we have people email us and let us know, and we'll email them the link that way, and some other things. So that might be an idea. That might be a thought. Come
real
on,
quick, because YouTube is not letting me put my email. I've typed it twice. It's not showing up in the feed. If you guys see it, let me know. I don't see it. But what it is, if you take my first name, Sheri, at GlennPBrooksJr.com. Email us at Sheri, Sheri, at Glenn with 2 N's, pbrooksjr.com. And that way you can send us your suggestions, topics that you want us to talk about, any suggestions that you have. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so
when you did it, it's not.
So I did it for you on my keyboard. Jackson, come on.
Showing. Okay.
Come on. Come on, let's go. You want to play?
No, he wants treats.
Oh, he wants treats.
I don't want to keep giving him treats.
I got you. Yeah, you just got him started. So that's the deal, guys, that we can also chat in Facebook rooms. Tiffany, I don't particularly care for Facebook rooms, to be very honest with you. Let me tell you why. Because I can't control what Facebook does. Mm-hmm. So, for instance, I, as a Zoom subscriber, I own the account.
Right.
Does that make sense?
And you own the video.
And I own the video. And quite frankly, I want to be able to do something with that content after we use it. So I like the notion of it, Tiff, but I'm not a fan at all of Facebook rooms. Trust me, I do this for a living, and I'm not a fan. So I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I appreciate the interaction. And you ever think about Teams? You can get 250 people. I don't understand
Google
what you mean.
Teams. It's I think she's talking about Google Teams. I don't particularly like it. We used it on my job. But we'll figure something. Do me a favor, guys. If you are on today, email us so that we get your email address, so that whatever change we make, we can notify you and let you know.
Absolutely.
So email us at that email address with your name. Say, hey, I'm a YouTube. I watch you guys on Breakfast with the Brooks, so I know why you're emailing me. So we can make sure we're going to add you to a mailing list so that we can notify you when we make whatever change we make. One thing that Glenn, I'm not sure if he did say that after episode 100. It's the end of the year, so we're going to take a break.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a couple of weeks where there's going to be a little pause. We'll probably do some replays. That's our top couple videos for the year. But then we're looking to come back in 2021. I don't know why I was going to say 2012. 2021 with something new and fresh for you guys. Sometime in January.
Got it. So, guys, let's get started today. I want you to put gratitude. Put it in the chat. Put the word gratitude in the chat. Put that in the chat. There are 5 emotional benefits to really walking in a place of gratitude. You talked about what you were grateful for. I want to share what I'm grateful for. I found myself feeling a little emotional this morning. I am grateful that today I'm not afraid to be vulnerable. There was a time, I don't know about you guys, but I grew up pleasing people in order to feel good about me. And I would put the face on that I thought you wanted to see. Very much a performer. Even when I was in the professional world as a radio host and announcer and even as a sales director and a sales manager, I was always accustomed to, when I was in ministry, any place where I was in the public's eye, you would see one person when really there was somebody altogether different there underneath the surface. Today, I'm grateful that that person no longer lives in me. What you see is what you get. If I feel like I want to cry, I'm going to do that. If I feel angry, I'm going to express that. If I feel sad, I'm going to express that. If I'm excited, I'm going to say that. If I appreciate you, and I'm going to tell you that. I remember one time when we had an event, and I am a high I. For those of you guys who don't know and never taken the DISC assessment, we call it the flamingo. I'm 99% in my natural, 95% in my adaptive, which means that I'm highly emotional. I have to practice calming down and calming my emotions and keeping them even keeled. That doesn't come natural to me, unlike Sheri. Sheri has to work on giving emotion, showing emotion.
Right.
So when she is laughing and joking and lightening, she is much more uptight, if you will, in terms of her rigid. I'll put that word, put it that way, than I am by nature.
Right.
So for me, I have to practice, like, literally calming down and just calm down, guys, calm down, because it's a real thing. So for me, being vulnerable or being able to be vulnerable is a huge big deal, because I no longer concern myself with what people think. Now, I'm going to say that to say this. We had an event one time, because I'm used to seeing everybody that we work with virtually, we got a chance to meet a bunch of people that we had seen and worked with for months online. They came to an event. I interacted with everybody, and I found myself hugging people that I didn't know. Now, that's fine if you're a hugger. But have you ever hugged a person who you clearly picked up they ain't a hugger, and you are intruding?
Right.
And you feel like, oh my God, like this is awkward. And it's like awkward, right? So for me, I that's the way I'm built. And so when I realize that, there's a certain level of vulnerability that I have today that allows me to be my authentic self, no apologies, but able to also now dictate, how I move and that sort of stuff, as opposed to moving the way that other people want me to move. And so the truth of the matter is that I realize that my level of gratitude, Sheri, has directly affected my emotional well-being.
Yes.
And I want to talk about that a little bit today. If you are finding yourself a person who's all over the place emotionally, or you find yourself down in the dumps regularly, I'm going to stress and point out a couple of things today that really may help you work that out. So if you're ready for this content, put ready in the chat, and we're going to go in. I'm going to talk about 5 things that you need to know on how gratitude affects your emotional state of mind. Go ahead.
And if I can as we're talking about how gratitude affects your emotional well-being, it affects you emotionally. For those of you that have followed us for a while, you know I've shared openly that I struggle with depression.
Right.
That I have most of my adult life. And that one thing that I realized is that having an attitude of gratitude helps to keep my depression at bay.
We're going to talk about that today.
To a degree. And so it actually has, I mean, I've been able to see personally that it does truly have a real effect on you emotionally, your mental well-being. And we're going to get into detail about that today. But I just wanted to encourage anybody, if you are struggling with depression, I know this time of year with the holidays can be a very hard time for a lot of people, that you try to focus on gratitude. And if you need to, please seek help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Please don't try to go through this by yourself and deal with it by yourself.
So number one, I want you to understand this, guys. When you practice, and I want to slow down for one quick second. The operative word here is practice. The operative word here is practice. But when you practice gratitude, number one, it will make you happier. Put that in the chat.
Right.
When you practice being gracious, being thankful, looking at the things that you have, and not focusing on the things that you don't, whether that is in your personal life, professional life, financially, health-wise, you name it. When you practice showing up and being grateful for what you have, it absolutely, studies show that it will make you happier. One of the ways that we do that, and we launched a gratitude challenge for our MAPS community, is by journaling, what are you grateful for? I remember years ago, we went through an exercise where we journaled 5 new things every day for 30 days on what we were grateful for. At the end of it, I put together a list. It was an index card thing, put a little hole punch in it and had a little ring around it. And it was just cards of what I was grateful for. Here's what was funny. For years after that, I would flip back through those things and think about how good my life was, so that when things were not going so well, it really caused me to change my attitude. And so gratitude literally can make your life happier if you can practice it. Right. Number 2, you got something you want to add on that?
No, I'm good. Go ahead.
Number 2, it will increase your psychological well-being.
Right.
I want you to put number 2, it will increase your psychological well-being. You can abbreviate that if you want to. The point I'm making is that your mental health is important when it comes to gratitude.
Right. And so, like I said before, being able to practice an attitude of gratitude will help to keep depression at bay. So depression, when people are dealing with depression, or you're having psychological, you're in a bad space psychologically.
Yes.
Oftentimes it's because you're having feelings of low self-esteem. You feel like, everything around you is going wrong. You're in this really dark place, a place of doom and gloom. But if you can find the light, if you can find a ray of sunshine in the midst of that darkness, it can help to change your mood.
That's good, babe.
They often talk about, even like exercise and things like that, it increases your dopamine in your body, which will change your mood. But also, if you focus on positive thoughts, positive affirmation, things that are positive, if you walk in an attitude of gratitude, it will help to clear that darkness out, because there'll be a ray of light that you can focus on, that as you're going through, I like to say, you're going through the dark tunnel. As you're going through the dark tunnel, you see light at the end. Yeah. And so there's hope.
Absolutely.
Because often, basically, depression is you feel like you're hopeless. But if you can find something to hold on to, that there's hope at the end of the road, it'll help you to get through that, and it'll help your attitude to not to completely plummet. It'll give you hope to be able to keep moving forward.
One of the things that you said, and I'm going to deal with that because that's a whole nother point. We talk about psychological being, or improving your psychological well-being. For those of you guys who are just jumping in, we're talking about gratitude and how it has direct benefits on you emotionally. Number 1, we said it will actually make you happier. It will cause you to not be sad as much. Number 2, it will increase your psychological well-being. And when you hear that word well-being, I want you to hear your state of being. Right. When we talk about wellness, I'm talking about the whole you. So I'm talking about your spirit. I'm talking about your soul. I'm talking about your body. Being grateful will help you to really increase that. Number 3, it will enhance your positive emotions. Now, let me just say this so that we're clear. Emotions are something that generally are that pop out and pop off at the least expected time. So if you've ever woken up in the morning and everything is going well, and all of a sudden you get out to the car and you realize your spouse did not put gas in the car, that can jam your whole mood up, right? And so you're like, yo, like, why didn't you? Now I'm going to be late because I got to stop. And that little episode right there has enough energy to jam up your entire day. What I often will do in situations like that is to say, you know what, I'm grateful for the flexibility that I have, that because I've been so consistent in being on time for work, I can call in and I can get some grace. Or I'm grateful that I actually have the money to put in the car, because I've been in a place where there's no gas in the car and there's no money in my pocket to put gas in the car. I'm also grateful that, you know what, in this particular case, maybe I can call an Uber or something, because at this point that will be quicker. Y'all hear how I'm now changing my disposition, but I'm doing that on purpose. What I'm doing is I'm stoking the fire of my positive emotions. Because if I do not do that, here's what will happen. Those negative ones will take over. So now you're pissed off with your spouse, you're angry with the person at the gas station who didn't give you the change quickly enough because they moving slow. You're mad because ain't nobody else got masks on. You're mad when you get to work. You hear how that ramps
it just
up.
keeps going.
And before you know it, you're now cussing your boss out and you're trying to figure out, why am I being threatened to get fired here?
Right.
Does that make sense, guys? So I need you to understand that when you enhance when you're grateful, it causes you to be able to enhance your positive emotions. And you alluded to this earlier, Sheri, but I want to tell you, number 4, put this in the chat. Gratefulness will also increase your self-esteem.
Right. When you are walking around, when you are grateful for the things that you have, it causes you to feel better about yourself. And so if I'm walking around, everything is doom and gloom and my life is worthless and this, that, and the other.
The sky is falling.
Right. I'm going to have low self-esteem.
Right.
But if I can look at the positive things, look at, I may have one friend, I may have whatever it is. If I can find something positive to focus on, if I can stay in a positive mindset and be grateful for what I do have, grateful for, and this is one exercise that I have women do often, is it's very easy. If I were to ask you to list one thing about yourself that you like, oftentimes that's difficult for women because we focus on the negative. But if even in your being grateful, what is one thing you're grateful about you? That one thing in of itself, if you're able to practice that exercise daily, that will improve your self-esteem because you're focusing on your strengths. What's positive about you, something that you're proud of about you.
That's real good, babe. That's real good. And the reason why I say that is because oftentimes, if the flip side of that is posed, and I ask you to tell me things that you don't like about yourself.
I'm overweight. I can go down the list.
Yeah, you just keep going. Right. I don't like my nose. I don't like my hair. I don't like the color. I don't like that. You can rattle that off, and that's not only for women. That's for men too. But men go through that too. But the point we're making here, guys, is that I don't have time to allow my mind to go there.
Right. Let
me tell y'all why. Because if I don't practice gratitude and I am down on me, my self-esteem is in the toilet. Here's the problem. That's going to affect something else later.
Right.
And I think that what people don't understand, and I'm going to make this about relationships, I think about single people. And I think about how a man can see a woman with low self-esteem a mile away.
Right.
And there are certain things about women who have low self-esteem that causes men to run from you. Listen to me very carefully. Or to take advantage of you.
Right.
One of the two. It's not generally to care for you.
Right.
It is to run from you or to take advantage of you.
Right.
And unfortunately, it happens way too often in relationships. And as coaches, we get to see this all the time. Why is it that you're dealing with the same guy over and over and over again, but he's just in a different body? Your esteem, generally speaking, what we have found in our practice is that your esteem has attracted them. The question becomes, was it your low self-esteem or your high self-esteem? When you can practice gratitude, you can boost your self-esteem. I'll give you a quick example. You take the person who doesn't have much, but they are so excited about life. That makes them attractive. That makes you want to be around them. You take them, as a matter of fact, it makes you almost envy them and really be inspired by them. Whenever you see a person who maybe they're physically handicapped, there's something about them that they physically cannot do. And maybe you're seeing a person run a marathon in prosthetics.
Right.
Immediately you become almost in, it's like, oh my God, humble. And it encourages you and it inspires you because you're like, oh, now I have nothing
to complain about. Nothing.
Like literally, let me shut my mouth. I remember when we went to South Africa years ago on a missions trip, I had an opportunity to really get a chance to see what real poverty is. See, the poverty that we experience here in America is of no comparison to the poverty that is experienced by many people around the world. And the truth of the matter is that we went to some places where they didn't have electricity. We went to places where the floors were dirt. And so when it rained, they were mud. We went to places that people lived in, they call them shanties, but literally these are canvas houses or little tin house. Like this is where they live.
Right.
Then you go to church on Sunday morning and people are worshiping God in a praise that's almost intoxicating. It's like, whoa, how can these people be so excited when they have so little? It is their state of gratitude. It's how they think. It's how they position themselves.
Right, they're grateful for what they have.
Absolutely.
Instead of worrying about what they don't have.
Absolutely. Last thing that we're going to talk about, we're going to get out of here for today. We said we would give you guys 5 benefits of emotional benefits of gratitude. Number 1, we said it makes you happier. Number 2, we said it will increase your psychological well-being. Number 3, it enhances your positive emotions.
Number 4, it increases your self-esteem.
And number 5, listen to this, and I want to characterize it this way, Sheri. For those of you guys who have battled depression, this will resonate with you. For those of you guys who have struggled with quitting consistently, you just give up easily, this will resonate with you. When you practice gratitude, it helps you to keep suicidal thoughts and attempts at bay. And when you hear that word suicidal, I want you to insert not only quitting on life itself, but also quitting on you. There are people who have suicidal thoughts, or I would call them thoughts of sabotage, that commit suicide on their careers.
Right.
Does that make sense? You walk into and it's career suicide. It's relationship suicide. Does that make sense? Meaning you killed it. And I need you guys to understand that when I am gracious, what that does, guys, is it helps me to look at the positive. What do we know about people who struggle with depression? Sheri said it earlier, but then take it to the place of saying, you know what? The world would be a better place without me. It is because they have slipped into a place of such depth.
Right.
That they believe that they're insignificant.
Right. And they feel like there's nothing worthwhile in their life. There's nothing they're grateful for. They feel insignificant. And when you walk with the attitude of gratitude, it helps you, like I said, it helps you to focus on that ray of light. And when you're in the midst of depression and you're struggling with, depression and you're having suicidal thoughts or those thoughts start to come, if you can remember one thing, something positive in your life to focus on that you're grateful for. For me, it's always been my daughter, focusing on her and, being able to be grateful for the opportunity that I have to be a mother. That has helped me to not, fully go there on many occasions. And so having that attitude, it helps. Like I said, it helps to keep you completely out of that dark
And just
place.
for complete transparency, when you say fully go there, what do you mean?
In over the course of my life, I have attempted suicide. There have been several attempts, but there have been many times that I have thoughts, that I've had thoughts that I have not acted on it. And, in recent years, particularly, I have not acted on it because I've adopted an attitude of gratitude, and I'm able to find that ray of light in the midst of the depression. No matter how heavy it feels, no matter how dark things feel, I'm able to see something that helps.
It's
pull
a
me out.
contrast.
Right.
It's a contrast. You know, it's funny. Sheri and I have been married. It'll be 22 years in January. And she told me in the very beginning of our relationship that she, had struggled with depression. And I remember not having a reference point to that, right? And I don't think I'd ever known anybody that struggled with that. If they did, they'd never said anything. And I remember when you began having episodes of just battles of depression when things would get really heavy for you, and me being in a place of just utter helplessness. Like, I felt helpless because I couldn't help the woman that I cared most about. And the thing that changed the game for me was when I understood the correlation between her attitude and how she saw things. It gave me an in as a person who wanted to support a person who was really suffering in silence. And I don't know who this is for, but when you are in relationship with people, whether it's your children, whether it's your spouse, your significant other, and they are battling with bouts of depression, how they see the world matters.
Right.
And this is where I was able to help not only Sheri, but quite frankly, my own mental well-being, because that's painful to go through a season of not feeling like you can't do, there's nothing I can do to help. Does that make sense?
Right.
So there's nothing I can say. But one of the things that I learned that was helpful for her, and that was how I introduced possibility. How I was able to introduce to her a new way of looking at something. Introducing to her a new a ray of hope. Some kind of sliver that says, you know what, I feel you, I understand that you may be, but had you thought about this? Had you thought about, had you considered this? And you have an ability in those moments, Sheri, to grab onto that. Like, it's like the most recent experience, I think we told, I don't know what group we were talking to. We were talking about when we went to vote. We were in line to vote. This was weeks ago. We went and voted early. And we went and we were in line, and Sheri literally was starting to have a bit of a anxiety attack. Over the fact that
they don't have on their mask.
Now you hear that word they? Y'all hear that? You would think that meant
everybody in line.
Many people. It was two.
Right.
And here's the crazy thing. I saw one. And I said, well, babe, everybody or they is one person. She said, no, it's two. Look at that guy. So here she is. Now you got to understand, there are hundreds of people in line probably. And she saw the two that didn't have masks. And so what I had to do is I had to help her perspective. I said, babe, here's the good news. The good news is we're outside. Right. The good news is it's a sunny day. The good news is that people are social distance. The good news is that you and I both have on masks. The good news is that the one or two people who don't aren't in your direct space. Right. Here's the other good news. The good news is we're standing in a place where our ancestors were traded as slaves, bought and sold as slaves. The good news is that we have an opportunity to fix a problem in our country that should have been corrected a long time ago. We have y'all hear me going? The good news is that after we leave here, we have a job where we don't have to ask permission of a boss, can we go to breakfast? The good news is we're going to go to breakfast to an incredible place. Matter of fact, she even came up with, prior to us going through that little tirade of where we could go to breakfast. Oh, we didn't know one of our favorite places was close to here. So here, we're going to go there. The good news is that once we got to breakfast, we had the $50.
Ow. Stop.
The $50 to spend on that breakfast. Does that, Todd, you feel what I'm saying, guys? And so that positioning brought her back to reality and helped her understand, you know what, it ain't that bad. And I remember clearly, it was like you just kind of calmed down.
Right.
And you started getting back on track. And that's the kind of thing. That's because I began focusing on what we were grateful for. Guys, we're grateful for you all. We've been doing this for a very long time. For those of you guys who just slipped in the back door, Sheri and I are going to shut down Breakfast with the Brookses as you know it after the 100th episode. And so here's what I want to do. We're going to start promoting now. In 2 weeks, obviously, it'll be the 100th episode. This is episode 97, I think it is.
He's biting me.
This is episode 97, I think.
This is 98.
This is 98. This is episode 98. And so 99 and 100 are going to be over the next 2 weeks. And on episode 100, I want to have a party. I want to invite everybody who has never or who's been a part of Breakfast with the Brookses over the years. We're going to have a party. We're going to shut the show down. And then we're going to rebrand it.
We're going to revamp it.
And we're going to revamp it. And we want to be able to do some things differently. We are interested in your thoughts and your perspectives. We put Sheri's email address. I'll put it back in the chat.
Email me at Sheri@GlennPBrooksJr.com. Sheri, my name right there. First name SHERI at GlennPBrooksJr.com. With any suggestions that you may have for topics for us to discuss on the new revised show. And also, just email us so we have your email address so that we can notify you when we come back on.
Even
when
if
the show comes back on live, so we can let you know what we're going to be doing, when we're going to be coming on. So you'll get a heads up. And so we want to add you to our mailing list so that you'll get that notification.
Yeah, and guys, just so that you guys are clear, and I'll make sure I got it right, Sheri@GlennPBrooksJr.com.
Yeah.
We put it in the chat there. So email Sheri, even if you don't have a suggestion, just say hello.
Just to let us know.
I'm a part of Breakfast with the Brookses,
so that we can
add you to our list of people that we want to communicate to and make sure that y'all don't get lost in this whole. We want y'all to be able to come back because we may change the time. We may communicate with the email list some things we're thinking.
Right.
And we want to get y'all's input. Let me tell y'all why this is important. Because if it doesn't matter to you, then it's pointless.
Right.
Does that make sense? We could do whatever. But if that's not what y'all want,
right,
then there's no point.
Right.
I don't know if that makes any sense. And so,
right, we do this show for you. We don't do it for us.
We don't get paid to do this. Nobody pays us a paycheck. We're not getting, I don't know what people think, but YouTube don't pay us to show up on this. We do this because we want to add value to you guys, and we want to have an opportunity to be able to share some wisdom and things that we've learned over the years. So I want to retool that effort and figure out what that could look like in the future, and we definitely want you guys to be on board with it. Dre, I appreciate that. Absolutely. Tiffany, thank you so much for subscribing. Teresa, no doubt. Party time. Absolutely. Absolutely. No, we might have a karaoke section. Watch out now. Did I hear somebody striking up the karaoke band? Is that might be a thing, Teresa? No, that's my flamingo sister. She'll get me in trouble. So I'm not sure. It absolutely matters. No, thanks, Nikkei. Guys, that's all we got for today. At the end of the day, here's what I know to be true. You cannot get to any place of significance by yourself. Why? Because we all need some help. Y'all be good, and we'll talk soon.
Have a good Saturday.